machine. I wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine.
Welcome to the Wednesday stream. I believe it's Wednesday. It has been advised to me that it is Wednesday. I hope everyone's doing all right. Thank you all for being here. Let me just get myself settled over here. There we go. Welcome, everybody. Derry Bennett, John Lithium, Quad Bennett, Moanep. Dude, welcome, Kirkenstein's Monster. Welcome. Yeah, I do think that they should bring back Stephen Colbert. All right, folks. Let's try to get started quickly because I got to get out of here pretty quickly. Today and tomorrow are going to be kind of short streams. Monday stream is tentative. Actually, I'm gonna say that Monday stream is probably it's probably off as of right now. I'll make another announcement tomorrow just to remind folks. Monday's stream is off. We'll be back Tuesday for the This Space. Bella Legreasy, This Space show. Hello, Diffies. No, thank you for being a cool guy. Appreciate that. All right, folks, let's get started. We got plenty of stuff to go through. If you want to support the channel, check out the merch store. Do the ! tip. Check out the Substack. Join the Discord, folks, and check out my show on This Space. Michael Hassler coming in. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's get started, folks. I got to get out of here. When hooking a machine intelligence to a nuclear arsenal or any destructive mission-critical system, lesson is to check if there's a self-aware machine hiding inside. Yeah, I mean, that would probably be ideal. Hopefully not. Let's get started, folks. This space ain't your mom's space.
His opponents, he did not hate his opponents. He wanted the best for them. That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponents. And I don't want the best for them. I'm sorry. I am sorry, Erica. But now Erica can talk to me and the whole group, and maybe they can convince me that that's not right, but I can't stand my opponent.
What a loser, man. What a loser.
Donald Trump made those comments over the weekend at Charlie Kirk's memorial, and if you're wondering why he would say something like this right now when we desperately need to unify our divided country, want to unify the country. Last week, after a Fox
News... exactly. Like, that's kind of like the point. Again, we talked about this yesterday on This Space. Like, you know, if you saw that show with Destiny and Anna Kasparian and the other fascists, it is incredible. Like, these people are not interested in being the people to de-escalate, and they're the source of the political violence. It's incredible. So I'll reiterate the same point that I said yesterday. I'll reiterate the same point that I said yesterday, that the left, right? The left TM, because they consider liberals left. Anyone who's like anyone to the left of like shooting homeless people for sport is radical leftist to these fascists. So anyone to the left, the responsibility of trying to turn down the temperature in this country is not on us. It's on the right. It's on the far right. Yeah, not very Christian at all. To be fair, we hate him as well. Ladybug, welcome.
His host asked him how to bring the country together. He said this.
How do we fix this country? How do we come back together?
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less.
Yeah, the only thing
So and again, it's funny that Brian Kilmeade is still there after saying that homeless people should be killed.
actually surprising about that comment is the fact that he used that term correctly. He also, incorrectly though, claimed that you don't have the First Amendment right to criticize him.
Quite the red line. Heat, how's it going?
When somebody is given 97% of the stories are bad about a person, that's no longer free speech. That's no longer, that's just cheating.
Now he was talking.
I mean, like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, oh, everyone's talking bad about me because, like, first of all, that's not true. Like, the media landscape, it leans right. It leans right to the right. If you look at even the articles that we cover, folks, like these publications aren't like bastions of leftist freaking progressive thought. Okay? To say that like everyone is just like dunking on him 24/7 is just not true. So the conclusion is that he just doesn't want people to criticize him. That's it. You know, if you hurt the dear leader's fifis too much, then you should be your license should be revoked. I'm not here yet, by the way. Okay. Oh, I wasn't supposed to read that. Gotcha. You're not here. My bad. Yelling that like Arnie trying to get to the chopper. Wow, Trump spoke the truth. A bit.
About news stations, but by that logic, both Obama and Biden probably should have shut down Fox News, since 100% of Fox News' coverage about both of them was negative. But pointing out double standards and hypocrisy is completely meaningless, because the American right isn't principled, nor are they policy driven. They are an extremist authoritarian movement motivated purely by absolute power and total control.
Yep, that's why you can't deal with these people, right? Like, you know, we had this conversation with someone in chat who was who said that they were previously right wing and then like they weren't. These are not those times. These are not those times. There's no point in debating with these people. There's no reason to be had with these people because they don't want it. They don't want it. They literally are telling you they hate you. They want the worst for you. Kimmel's show was pretty good last night. Nice. Nadia, welcome.
Evidenced by the fact that Trump said that broadcast networks critical of him should lose their licenses, but of course it's up to the discretion of FCC chairman and Project 2025 author Brendan Carr. It doesn't matter that Brendan Carr also tweeted that the government shouldn't censor speech that it doesn't like back in 2019. Throwing their own hypocrisy in their faces simply doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference. They don't care. Like, ultimately, they don't care because they have a completely warped definition of what free speech means. So yeah, it's not like they don't care. You can try to be like, well, you hypocrites, you were talking about freedom of speech not too long ago, and here you are being those very ones. Like, it doesn't matter. I mean, you should point it out because it's for the reason that you for the purpose of exposing just how dangerous these people are. That's the reason why we talk about it. But to use it against them as a gotcha, it doesn't really work. They don't care, if that makes sense. Some places still won't show them. I think it's because of Sinclair. And who has like the big company above.
because they don't believe that they're being hypocritical. When Brendan Carr says that the FCC shouldn't police speech, he meant that. But what he really meant was that they shouldn't police right-wing speech. It's fine to police left-wing speech or liberal speech, but not...
And that's the thing with like how fascism works, right? That's how fascism works, right? It's complete warping of reality. They take words and turn them on their head. Up is down, down is up. It's just, that's just how fascism works. Seth Evans, he said 1/5 of the country could not access the show unless online. Yeah, because of Sinclair, if I remember. Right, so bad they aren't even intellectually capable of what we require to have actual democratic citizenship. Like even the very notion of a right being actually universal and inalienable is entirely lost on them. They either don't understand it or reject it outright. If you were to ask, I would say that if you were to push them on the subject, I'm pretty sure that they would just be fine with saying, I actually don't believe in the Second Amendment. I actually don't believe in the right to due process. Like, what else do they pretend to believe in? I actually don't believe in free speech. Like, they'll tell you if you press them on it, right? If you like, you've seen some of those videos, like where like one guy would come up and like ask like these ultra MAGA people like questions like that, and like, yeah, ultimately they'll be like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, maybe they shouldn't. Maybe they shouldn't have rights to free speech. And it's just like, okay, I mean, yeah, that's fantastic. Cool. There is no conversation. They're just ginning up their Holocaust and nothing said against them matters. Yeah, agreed. If they keep this path going, this is exactly where it ends. There's no conversation to be had because A, you're right. They don't. There's nothing else. Like, they just want you gone. It's funny. Channel 7 out here in Detroit made a point to say they were not affiliated with Disney. Oof. It's just very obvious from the behavior, if not also worse, the more honest among them, and now they're whining about political violence. Right. They're whining about political violence, but it's the same, it's the same play, right? Like when they talk about political violence, like ask them about January 6th. They'll say, well, that wasn't like political violence. And then when you show them very obviously that it was political violence, like, well, it's actually necessary. So it's like, yo, really? Really? Oh. And the whole point of that civil liberty is an alternative to every social conflict being resolved by violence. Yep.
Right-wing speech. So he's only telling you half of what he really thinks. When Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth limits what journalists can and can't report, that's not an attack on the First Amendment to them, because they think the state is there to serve them and only them. When Trump said that Joe Biden's lawfare and weaponization of the Justice Department was bad, what he really meant was that it's only bad when Democrats do it, not when he does it. Now, in reality, Biden did not do that. His Justice Department was independent, hence why they prosecuted Joe Biden's own son, Hunter, which is something that he would not have done on his own volition. The independence there is key. But now that Donald Trump is in control, he's going full steam ahead with the weaponization he once denounced.
Right. Like that's exactly another example. If it weren't for double standards, they wouldn't have any at all. Sartor has a quote about how anti-Semites play with words, and that helps here. It was from his time at World War II mass internment. Yeah, I mean, it's extremely crucial to fascists to play with words like that, like meanings of words, the reality, the warping reality itself. They truly are. They want their cake and eat it too. And genuinely, even if they don't see conflict on its face, there are types we don't want rights, but also we expect somehow that doesn't devolve into all against all violence, which we also don't want, but at least not once we're actually experiencing it. Donald Duck, welcome. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff here. In his work, especially Anti-Semite and Jew, Jean-Paul Sartre described how anti-Semites play with words by using frivolous, absurd, or even ridiculous arguments to intimidate and disconcert their opponents, rather than engaging in good faith. This is 100% a Nazi tactic. Every time with these people. They aim to undermine the serious use of language, discrediting the interlocutor who believes in the responsibility of words, which is exactly why there's no point in debating Nazis. This is a deliberate tactic to avoid reason and conviction by choosing to be impervious to truth, delighting in bad faith. Right, and at the end of the day, like you just end up platforming this genocidal ideology, right? Because they're not interested in actually exchanging. In actually debating ideas, because that would be ludicrous, right? Like, how silly would that look, right? If we actually had a good faith conversation with, like, I don't know, a fascist, like, it would be silly, right? Because we would just see how genocidal that ideology is. It'd be insane. Link the quote. I'll read it out loud. I got you. Hold on. Here it is. I'll read it out loud. Never believe that anti-Semites are completely unaware of the absurdity of their replies. They know that their remarks are frivolous, open to challenge, but they're amusing themselves, for it is their adversary who is obliged to use words responsibly, since he believes in words. The anti-Semites have the right to play. They even like to play with discourse. For by giving ridiculous reasons, they discredit the seriousness of their interlocutors. They delight in acting in bad faith, since they do not seek to persuade by sound argument, but to intimidate and disconcert. If you press them too closely, they'll abruptly fall silent, loftily indicating by some phrases at the time, from some phrase at the time for argument is past. Yep. 100%. And you could see this in play. Like, I don't know if you've ever watched, like, old debates between, like, if you've watched any debates in the old era of internet debate, if you can call it that, and a Nazi came up, even like in old Discord debates and whatnot, they're literally like this. They're like this 100%. There's no point in engaging with this. Like, there's literally no point in debating a Nazi. It's just like, there's no point. Disingenuous and our bad faith are words that come to mind. Right, yeah. I mean, literally, that's exactly word for word in this quote. Like, they're purposefully bad faith. The exact word is they delight in acting. The exact quote is they delight in acting in bad faith, since they seek not to persuade by sound argument, but to intimidate and disconcert, which is 100% true. It's literally what they do, and the aim is to be on the platform. That's it. To be on the platform, to legitimize we can't actually have any debate on the actual facts about, I don't know, like, if you're dealing with a Nazi who's denying the Holocaust. Like, there's no amount of evidence that you could present to a Nazi that would convince them otherwise, that like the Holocaust was real. Like, they'll always say something. Right? Like, if you present irrefutable evidence, they'll just say, that's Jewish evidence. That's the end. That's the end of that conversation. Gotta watch Snake Eyes again. Movie night, anyone? I mean, I'm down. It probably would have to be not this Saturday, but next Saturday. Or if you want to, Monday evening. I'm actually off. I'm actually off Monday evening, so if you want to move it to that, or just not this Saturday, but next Saturday, then we're good to go. Then we're good to go. Whatever you guys want. The thumbnail of this video has Mike looking like. Yeah, I know. I always have like this unique ability to always pause in like the funniest faces. I do this with every freaking video. I just have this unique ability. Welcome, Soul Life. South Park Saturday. Looks like he's gonna sneeze in British.
He publicly called on his attorney general to immediately bring charges against multiple political opponents, including Adam Schiff, James Comey, and Letitia James. And speaking of Letitia James, he's forcing his own U.S. attorney, Eric Seibert, to resign since he didn't charge James with mortgage fraud, seeing as how there's zero evidence that she actually did commit mortgage fraud. But he'll presumably bring in someone new who's willing to cook the books for him. That is textbook weaponization. But
right,
in their
and
mind,
you could see, look, there it is again. I paused it in the perfect face. Look at that. You could also see, like, we just went over an article, was it yesterday, where, like, we had Tom Homan, head thumb of ICE, accepting bribes for $50,000, and like that case just went away. I think it was in the late 2015. I mean, that is super on point. That makes so much sense. During that time, like that makes so much sense. Echo Resto Dragon, welcome.
the Justice Department can only be weaponized against him and his allies because they're human and everyone else is not human. Therefore, everything done to us non-humans is legitimate and good since the Constitution only protects humans or real Americans. It's why he designated a non-existent group such as Antifa as a terrorist organization, even though no such organization actually exists.
Yeah, no, there's no such thing as Antifa as an organization. It just doesn't exist. Antifa is more like an ideology. It means anti-fascist. So yeah, it's concerning. It's concerning the fact that they want to brand anti-fascists as like domestic terrorists, regardless of what legal grounds they have. It's irrelevant. The point being is they absolutely are trying to deem anti-fascist domestic terrorists. I mean, what would you call a government that deems anti-fascist domestic terrorists, regardless if they're going to round up people or not, regardless if there's actually any legal basis for this, because there isn't. So what would you call a government that brands anti-fascist as a domestic terrorist? Elevator gate up, blown all the way up to Gamergate by then. Yep. Echo Rested Dragon, you hear the UN speech? Yeah, it's just fascist speech. It's literally like, I mean, talking about like the threat to Western civilization being unfettered migration. I mean, like, It's wild. I did hear parts of it. Yes. Right. If you're not anti-fascist, then what are you? Anti-fascista.
As Hassan Piker points out, anti-fascism is an action, not an organization. This is precisely the reason why this fascist administration will go after anyone expressing discontent with its fascist policies. Exactly. If you oppose this fascist administration, you could be labeled a terrorist because, as Steve Bannon of MSNBC put it, if the White House says that Antifa members are terrorists and the White House says it will decide on its own merit who and what qualifies
Yeah, on the tip of my tongue.
as Antifa affiliates, this can get very scary very quickly. Indeed. So if the president thinks that it's illegal to criticize him and they determine who is and isn't a terrorist under this designation, you quickly begin to realize how the ultimate goal is to shut down any and all dissent. But in case Antifa was too broad, conservatives are trying to be a little bit more clear about their specific targets. Republican Nancy Mace introduced legislation to designate the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization in order to prosecute Ilhan Omar, a Muslim woman who is not a member of the Muslim Brotherhood, but nonetheless, the president has incited hatred against Ilhan Omar because she dared to condemn Charlie Kirk's racist remarks. It doesn't matter that Trump himself said this just a couple of days ago about Joe Biden, who was diagnosed with cancer.
You know, Biden was always a mean guy, but never a smart guy. You know, even you go back 30 years ago, 40 years ago, he was a stupid guy, but he was always a mean son of a bitch, you know? How's it working? Not working too well for him right now, as it says. So when you start feeling sorry for him, remember, he was a bad guy.
See, that rhetoric is fine because he said it. But if you don't whitewash Charlie Kirk's comments to an extent that even he probably wouldn't be happy with, well, that means that you're sick and twisted and
Yeah, I mean, like that's why we just shouldn't care. All right, like it's not on us to be the bigger people. It's not on us. Loves is Antifa. It's not on us. Okay, it's not on us. I'm sorry. Until the president can act like a normal adult, it's not on us. And until the president can sit and say, you know, the right wing needs to chill on political violence, then you know, it's no point. There's no point. You know, this is like this is like someone constantly threatening to hit you, and expecting you not to fight back, and expecting you to be the bigger person and say like, you know, I don't want to, you know, do anything else. Like, no, man, the guy's hitting you constantly. Anyone who fails to hail Trump, Vance, Richard Spencer style will be deemed a terrorist. I mean, they think so. Again, the legal basis, like the actual pen to paper, like there's no crime, there's no legal basis that they can do. But it's all bluster because they want people to be scared. They want people to be scared. They want people who fail to hail the dear leader, Richard Spencer style. I like that. They want those people to be afraid. They want opposition to be scared. That's what this is. I always figured we were all anti-fascist, like that's just inherently American or Western or whatever. I mean, I've been disavowed that notion for years now, but yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying though. Trying to play chess while they shit on the board, exactly. Doesn't help that Biden is actually mean. Yeah, but to them, you know what I mean? It's not all bluster. They can kill with impunity. Oh, yeah, but like I'm talking about like general, like just general, like that they're trying to project power that they don't quite have yet. Could they do that? Yeah, I mean they could black bag you and make you disappear. Sure. Could they do that? Yeah. But I'm talking about like how we used to see things, where police would just start rounding up leftists or anyone deemed enemies of the state, trans people, gay people. That it's not like it is not like an en masse thing that's happening right now. Right now, what they're trying to do is set up the groundwork. You know, they're putting up military. They're putting a military in the DC. They're testing out how far they can go with deployments of the National Guard around blue areas. I mean, yeah, I get that. They're already disappearing people. Yeah, I'm saying like on a mass scale, where it's noticeable. You know what I mean? Because again, they can make you disappear as one person. You know, one person here, one person there. If you get too loud, but I'm talking about like a mass scale where people are noticing. If that makes sense. Was it 2/3 of inmates at Alligator Alcatraz are unaccounted for? Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Watch the intro to Handmaid's Tale is basically the same playbook. Trump is hanging 50,000 pics of himself on the side of the government buildings like this is North Korea. I mean, basically. What really doesn't help has been the Democrats' refusal to embrace the anti-fascism. Yep. Mass is subjective. Yes, but I qualified it. I mean, like when enough people to start noticing, right? Like right now it's starting with like immigrants, right? But I'm talking about like a mass, like enough for people to be like, huh.
You want right-wingers to die, and you're a terrorist threat. It doesn't matter that they joke about Paul Pelosi getting bludgeoned with a...
Here's my qualifier. Here's my qualifier. When the normies start realizing it, that's kind of like what I'm talking about. Like when the normies and people who don't really pay attention to the news start noticing it, that's kind of like the crossing.
Hammer and lie about George Floyd's murder, because remember,
Trump is shit. I get you.
The only ones who they see as fellow humans. So you can't really dehumanize us, their political opponents, because they never saw us as human in the first place.
True.
So the entire Republican Party and their media apparatus inciting hatred against the only hijabi member of Congress isn't dehumanizing in their eyes. And if violence comes her way as a result of their rhetoric, it's not their fault because she had it coming and was deserving of it, according to them. And again,
yeah, I mean, this is Nazi playbook. This is Nazi playbook 101.
She's not human in their eyes. You can't dehumanize her. Now, the mainstream media is going to play along for the sake of civility and to avoid the wrath of the autocratic tyrants in charge, but they're not stopping at Antifa and Muslims because, as Ken Klippenstein reports, the Trump administration is preparing to designate transgender people as violent extremists in the wake of Charlie Kirk's murder. A senior intelligence official tells Ken they are cynically targeting trans people because the shooter's lover was trans. The administration has convinced itself that the Charlie Kirk murder exposes some dark conspiracy.
Yep. This is what happens when you have like Nazi podcasters pressing the levers of the top law enforcement, right? I mean, like literally, like it's just a bunch of Nazi podcasters defending a Nazi podcaster.
The senior official explains that there is no process per se for dealing with trans people as a threat group, but feels that trans individuals will be increasingly targeted under the banner of, quote, violent extremism. And by placing so-called trans ideology under the broad category of NVEs, which stands for nihilistic violent extremists, that gives the administration broad authority to crack down even more on this already marginalized community that is 4 times as susceptible to violence than their cisgender peers. It doesn't matter that trans people statistically are significantly underrepresented when it comes to gun violence, in the same way that it doesn't matter that immigrants are far less likely statistically to commit crime than citizens. The goal is to force any and everyone who they view as undesirable out of public life in order to advance their goal of a white Christian utopia. And even though it starts with Muslims and trans people and immigrants, it ends with any and everyone that they do not like. And designating LGBTQ plus people as terrorists, by the way, that's exactly what Vladimir Putin did in Russia. And it's one of many things that Republicans are doing to target the trans community. 2 Republican lawmakers, both Nancy Mace and Ronnie Jackson, called for the forceful institution of trans people. A Michigan state lawmaker, the same guy who proposed a ban on same-sex marriage, is now proposing a ban on depictions of trans people and drag queens, which is also akin to Russia's queer propaganda law. And the Heritage Foundation doesn't think that the FBI's potential designation of trans people as terrorists goes far enough, because they're calling on trans allies to be classified as terrorists too. So when you step back...
Yep. Conspiracy to implicate trans peeps. Yep. And if you're an ally, if you believe that trans people are human, if you believe that trans people have rights, if you believe that trans people deserve to live just like a life, then yeah, you're also an enemy of the state. How left are you economically? Yes, but by definition, like being left economically is anti-capitalist.
And you look at all of the moves that they're making really quickly, it's evident that they think that anyone who opposes them is the enemy. And they're currently building up the power to stop who they deem as the enemy from resisting their tyranny. At the end of last month, Trump signed an executive order that would allow regular citizens to join what they're calling a quick reaction force that allows them to team up with the National Guard to crush protests anywhere in the country. A civil liberties attorney called it the scariest thing he's seen in U.S. politics in his adult life. And I agree. They're giving right-wingers legal cover if they choose to violently shut down their political opponents. If you also don't like left-wingers or liberals and you want to eliminate them, well, here's one way that you can do that legally. They don't care if this is brazenly unconstitutional at all, because the ends justify the means. To them, the Constitution is there to protect them and only them and nobody else. They simply do not want to live in a country with people who aren't...
So command economy? No, that's not left-leaning necessarily. You could have a command economy under a fascist government.
Them or don't think like them or who won't join them. It's acquiesce or be pushed out. And that was especially apparent in Stephen Miller's speech at Charlie Kirk's memorial, where certain portions literally sounded eerily familiar to a speech made by Joseph Goebbels, the chief Nazi propagandist, and Jim Stewardson on Twitter.
I think this is what Nadia was talking about the other day.
Shared the speech and quotes from Goebbels' infamous "The Storm is Coming" speech that he made back in 1932. And I've got to say, it is chilling. And
The storm is coming? Isn't that like a common QAnon freaking saying? The storm is coming? Holy crap,
I'm going to put the quotes from Joseph Goebbels side by side so you can kind of see how similar that speech sounds to quotes from Stephen Miller's speech at Charlie Kirk's memorial.
The storm whispers to the warrior that you cannot withstand my strength. And the warrior whispers back, I am the storm. Erica is the storm. We are the storm. And our enemies cannot comprehend our strength, our determination, our resolve.
This is why it's so important to freaking study, man. To study history. Holy shit.
Our passion, our lineage and our legacy hails back to Athens, to Rome, to Philadelphia, to Monticello. Our ancestors built the cities. They produced the art and architecture. They built the industry.
I am the one who knocks.
Erica stands on the shoulders of thousands of years of warriors, of women who raised up families, raised up city, raised up industry, raised up civilization, who pulled us out of the caves and the darkness into the light. The light will defeat the dark. We will prevail over the forces of wickedness and evil. They cannot imagine what they have awakened. They cannot conceive of the army that they have.
I mean, this is literally just a rewrite. Like this is just like a rewrite of that same freaking speech, man. This is literally just a copy paste, but with like modern little flares.
Risen in all of us. Because we stand for what is good, what is virtuous, what is noble. And to those trying to incite violence against us,
yep, fascism.
Those trying to foment hatred against us, what do you have? You have nothing. You are nothing. You are wickedness, you are jealousy, you are envy, you are hatred. You are nothing. You
Remember, every accusation is just a confession.
can build nothing. You can produce nothing.
This is a common like white supremacist Nazi talking point that like white European people, right, built everything, and that anyone else, like, they don't build stuff. People of color, right, they're just savages until the white man came and showed them. The white man built everything.
You can create nothing. We are the ones who build. We are the ones who create. We are the ones who lift up humanity.
I mean, like, this is literally like this is literally just straight up like Nazi shit. Like, this is not ambiguous. This is not even being couched in any euphemisms. Nothing. This is just straight up Nazi shit. Like, there's no other way of describing it. This is just straight Nazi shit. White people built everything. Everyone else are just, no mask needed. Everyone else is just a savage, subhuman person, and that basically rode the coattails of white people. It's such a loving memorial. Wow, this is all because some students made fun of him back in high school, getting revenge on. Yep. I mean, like, Hitler didn't get into art school, so,
You thought you could kill Charlie Kirk? You have made him immortal. You have immortalized Charlie Kirk. And now millions will carry on his legacy.
I mean, it's not a one-to-one, but the similarities are certainly there. He's conjuring up images that Goebbels also conjured up in his 1932 speech.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, it's pretty... The similarities are too hard to ignore. They're just too hard to ignore. It's obvious what he was doing. He is doing it on purpose. He just kind of rearranged everything and gave it a little... and gave it a little 2025 update. That's all that happened here. But when you put
aside the uncanniness to Goebbels and you just evaluate it on its own merit, either way, if you don't think it sounds like that, the speech alone sounds like a speech from a standard fascist demagogue who has thoroughly dehumanized his political opponents.
Yeah, 100%. Like, by the way, you didn't need that comparison to Goebbels. Like, this is literally like, this is literally freaking fascist Nazi shit. Like, that's it. Like, there's no it's just straight up fascist rhetoric. Was he rejected from art school too? No, this guy was just wasn't bullied enough, honestly. That's what happened. Oops, sorry.
Who feels like they're entitled to complete domination and hellbent on vengeance. Like, either way, that speech is chilling. Stephen Miller is envisioning a world without the rest of us because he doesn't think we're good enough to live in the world that they're creating, and this regime is actualizing a plan to make that a reality. Our country has been conquered by white supremacists and Christo-fascists, and they know it. They know that they've won, and to demonstrate how they know they won, I want to share this short month-old clip from MSNBC, which features chilling quotes from a Charlottesville neo-Nazi and a Proud Boy who essentially declare victory.
On the anniversary of the deadly Charlottesville riot, where neo-Nazis marched by torchlight, chanting about immigrants and Jews, the lawyer who helped organize that event, that march, tweeted this: 8 years ago, you were an extremist if you protest being replaced by immigrants. Your life was over if you talked about stopping or reversing it. Now it is official White House policy. Never give up. While ex-Proud Boy leader Enrique Tarrio put it this way, quote, things we were doing and talking about in 2017 that were taboo, they're no longer taboo. They're mainstream now. Honestly, what do we have to complain about these days?
Yeah, so happy for them. So if you're wondering what happens after fascists capture control of an entire government, this is what that looks like. They crush their political opponents by any and all means necessary. Back in 1933, the Nazis used the Reichstag fire to justify the shutdown of their opposition, and it seems like that's where we are in history. Charlie Kirk's murder is shaping up to be the modern-day equivalent to the German Reichstag fire, and mere talk of shutting down their opposition is over. they're now doing, right? They're at the stage where they're executing their plans to crush their opponents since they finally have the excuse that they needed. And I'm not saying that
Appreciate that, Eager.
things here will end the same way as
BCAT, welcome.
they did in Nazi Germany, because history doesn't necessarily repeat, rather it rhymes, as Mark Twain put it. And certainly there are other elements of other authoritarian regimes that are mirroring what we're seeing here: Russia, Hungary, Turkey, the Philippines under Duterte. But I mean, if history is an indication as to where this is all going next, I'll just say it doesn't look very good.
Do yourself a favor.
Do yourself a favor. No, that was 9/11. I mean, 9/11 like laid the groundwork for a lot of this stuff. 9/11 laid the groundwork for a lot of this stuff. 9/11 created ICE. 9/11 created the basis, the baseline for the security police state that we live in, the apparatus that we've seen. Yeah. I found a few bottles between my model train collection and one next to my piles of motherboards I like to fix. Oh no. Ha! Why in the hell is this loser in glasses saying mean things about him? I wanted canceled and deported. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Mike Loser Figueroa. All he does is hit Trump, and he hits him hard. All right, folks, I got to get out of here. It's about 6 o'clock, just over. Yeah, Patriot Act was written and ready to go in 2000, and then 2001 happened, and it was like, boom, perfect. Perfect time. All right, folks, I got to get out of here. Food's here, and I got to keep working on some stuff around the house. Again, folks, Monday, there's no stream. Tomorrow, again, it'll be the same thing. It'll be like a short stream because I still want to hang out with you guys. Appreciate all of you being here. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Hassler, for minding the chat. Appreciate it. Do all the stuff and the links and the things and the stuff and the, stuff. Join us on Discord, folks. That's really important. Join us on Discord, all right? Take care, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you for your support. You guys are what makes this channel go, folks. I appreciate it. As always, folks, thank you. I want a refund. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all. I hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow. The same deal. See ya. Things and stuff and, stuff. Hang tight, folks. Hang tight. Why am I already? Okay, here we go. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye. Yeah, keep posting stuff. I love seeing pet pictures. See ya.